just here. We've had all 1-1 ties on stream C. We'll see if this is going to be a similar case heading into game 2, because it was all boom in our previous game. A very convincing showing from them, but again, we saw Hokori against PSG.LGD. Game 2 was where they were able to hit back, and we'll see, Denog, if that's going to be a similar thing in this upcoming game.
Yeah, we will. This time around, I think they've switched up the priority a little bit. It's Hokori that went ahead and chose second pick. Boom are going to be playing on the Radiant side. So I wonder if we're going to see a little bit more of that fast-paced style come through from Boom. You know, is this the game where we see Chaos Knight, Ursa, Kunkka, you know, these sorts of heroes that are able to chain through, get kills, get Roshan, and use that advantage to be able to push in and try and end the game even earlier than they did in game 1.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's really the main thing that we were speaking about. Like, are they going to go for a lineup that's a little bit more fast tempo and doesn't particularly have this strategy where you're really putting a lot of hopes and a lot of pressure onto the back of Lumiere? Keep in mind as well, Boom, this is now the 3 games they've versed Hokori. They've won all the last 3 matches as well. So the recent success against them is looking pretty good.
Yeah, but you talk about the recent stuff. LGD were looking pretty good recently, and they are not having the greatest day at all. I think they're almost set to be ending up 1-3 after the current series that they're playing against EG at the moment. So certainly surprising to a lot of the fans coming through, but well, that's what's great about TI. Anything can happen. Some of these surprise packets can look to come on through. Even some of the teams that a lot of people weren't favoring as much. Fnatic getting a game up against Spirit. Talon 1-1 against TSM. So yeah, we'll see what ends up coming through. Even beastcoast, after their showing against Entity in game 1, right? They came back, looked even stronger in game number 2.
Yeah, so game 2s have been really where we've seen some teams be able to make amends on maybe the previous draft or maybe some of the issues that we've had. So we do have a game 2 draft underway, and we'll see if Hokori are going to be able to replicate what we've seen on some other streams and on our stream in particular as well. We've got no Primal Beast, no Marcy for Hokori. They want to ban those out, and for Boom, it's going to be the Morphling and the Undying that are banned out as well.
What do they start off with here? Do you think this is a silencer to begin with on Boom? Not sure, honestly. I don't think you can... I would rather they go something like a Hoodwink, to be honest, just to be able to open this one up. It gives them flexibility with where Tims or Skem want to play it. Both of them have shown capabilities of it in the past. It means that you can look to connect through onto one of these heroes like Ember or Kunkka for early pickoffs. It combines together well with FBZ's heroes. The break component means that you're countering through some of Hokori's heroes that they like to go, that rely on, you know, their passives. So yeah, I wouldn't hate seeing a Hoodwink to start with and then just looking to respond from that, because even if they don't go full tempo, I still feel like Hoodwink's decent enough in terms of the mid to late game.
I think there's a couple other routes you can consider. I'm firstly concerned they use so much reserve time, because often the first phase, or at least in the first pick, is kind of premeditated. So maybe not expecting Hokori to ban out the Primal Beast and the Marcy as well.
You don't think
Snapfire is going to be the first pick?
You don't think the Primal Beast and the Marcy were expected bans?
Well, I don't know why they use so much reserve time
true.
then. So yeah, you kind of often will speak about what the first phase is going to look like before you get in. So it's going to be Snapfire picked up for Boom. So Hokori, they have the potential to go into the Enigma +1 if they want to again. Will not be against a silencer unless Boom want to pick it up at the 18th. And they have showed that they're more than happy to go for both their supports in the first phase.
And they've shown that they are happy to play this Snapfire in 3 different roles, 4, 5, as well as mid. So we'll see if that's an option. I mean, Analog, the heroes that I've seen him have the best performances on are the Spirit style of heroes, Ember Spirit in particular. So that's the matchup that they really love playing the most, with this Snapfire being mid against the Ember Spirit if possible. So we'll see if that's the avenue that Boom end up going down. Instead, they're just going to go pretty standard lane. You know, SF, Shadow, Nyx Assassin, very capable if you're looking to run them as a 1 and a 5. You've got still some level of flexibility with this draft. I don't hate it at all.
I wonder, I'd like to see Boom with this picture for a hero that can gap close onto the Shadow Fiend very easily.
Ooh.
Magnus is definitely one of them. So
FBZ Magnus coming through, most likely. He's been
has
playing it
Yokai
a
been
lot.
playing it as well? FBZ?
Yeah. I think he's 100% win rate over the past week as well.
Seconds remaining.
Ooh. I was just trying to see if I had Yopage's recent games written down as well, but I do
Don't
not,
think he's
so I'm not
got
quite
mag.
sure if...
He doesn't have mag in his, at least in pubs.
Hokori's turn to ban.
So we'll see. This gives you a lot of teamfight combo now for Boom, and also the potential Shadowfiend has a very scary late game spike, and well, Boom, they could be able to match that with the a buff of the Empower onto a carry that can get on top of the Shadowfiend very easily.
Yeah, it also enables you to go something for Jackie that it's been losing popularity a fair amount, the Faceless Void. I feel like this is still, again, possible if you've got the Empower to play with. I think some of the small nerfs that Faceless Void were getting are going to be made not so bad by that. You might even look to go down the PA route yourself. Jackie really loves to play the Juggernaut as well, means you don't worry about the Nyx Assassin quite so much, and I mean, you don't exactly man fight into the Shadow Fiend, but if you can get close enough, then Omni Slash onto an SF, there's not much you can do.
One thing quickly to mention that just reminded me, like how you are saying some carries for Jackie to play and all that are going to get value out of the Empower. Like that's a Nyx Assassin deals quite well with them with if they're farming, like this being able to play with the Spike Carapace into the Snapfire as well. So it is a very good Nyx Assassin game to start, and we saw what Zayats was able to do. We saw what multiple other players were able to do in the Last Chance qualifiers as well. So didn't have the greatest game previously for Theolacor, but it's already looked like a pretty good Nyx Assassin game to have some value.
Yeah, for sure. And even just the Magnus now looking like it might even be a bit more likely to actually be Yopage's hero. You know, the Bat Rider getting removed from the pool makes life a little bit challenging. Same sort of thing with the Snapfire, right? It's just a hero that does not deal with the Bat at all. So good band coming through there. I think the Nyx is solid enough. I just... What do I want? What do I want out of Boom here? So you wanted the gap close, and Magnus does kind of provide that. More reposition as opposed to gap close, which I think is still fine. A lot of the time you want to rally around the Shadow Fiend if possible. You think they could go ahead and... Theolacor plays a really good Rubik, but he also plays a really good Nyx, so I'm not sure if you want to give this one up unless you're just going to run a Nyx 5 on Gardic.
Which I don't know if you potentially want to run a Nyx 5. Doesn't sound overly fun. I think Hokori really need to be considering about if they're going to address the team fight advantage that Boom have at the moment. Because Snap Mag against Nyx Shadowfiend, there's obviously a big advantage that Boom have. Nice call with the Rubik as well. So I think whatever you go here, save could be nice against kind of the big RP combo. I was considering Wyvern, who is previously known as a counter, but into Snapfire with a lot of magic damage, and your support duo sounds a bit awkward. So I kind of just, I want someone to potentially have team fight and maybe a way to buff up the Shadow Fiend, if that's not the case on the team fighting route.
I mean, maybe you even just go like a magic damage Shadow Fiend instead in the mid lane. Someone that naturally builds into the Yule Scepter, so that if the Magnus tries to go on you, you don't really care as much. There's also the fact that I think, doesn't Mag stop now if he skewers and gets stunned? Previously, he just kept going, I believe. So if you're really on point with Theolacor with the Nyx Assassin, as long as you get a good enough blink timing, you just blink in the way and pop the Carapace, and then suddenly Mag just stops in his tracks, and you don't actually split up the team fight.
Interesting. With you mentioning the Rubik as well, were you taking into consideration about the instant stun?
Yes.
For the...
That was mostly
so yeah,
what it was. It was less the RP, it was more around that.
Sure. Because if that was the case, I was going to ask you if there's anyone else you feel like can kind of supplement what the Rubik would have been able to provide them.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, the Yule Scepter for the Shadow Fiend, right? Just something like that, but I feel like Shadow Fiend is probably the target that you want to begin with, so a little bit less likely.
Gives them some team fight. Does seem like it's a...
Yeah, this is just push him, Boom. Don't hate it. Don't hate it as well. I mean, it really does benefit from the Empower a decent amount. If you're going to get caught by the Nyx Assassin through from hits, it'll be from like a God's Rebuke or a Spear, as well as just the right click, so I don't think this changes much for the Mars. And you've even got a Mars now against a Shadow Fiend, who puts you in a weird spot for how you take a lot of these team fights, right? Like, if you're in the middle of a team fight, you're just going to get obliterated. You know, even if you pop the BKB, that's an RP, an easy RP. Puck isn't amazing against the Mag or the Mars in the mid lane as well. You end up copping a lot of right-click harassment, not as much as you used to from the Mars, of course, with his God's Rebuke, but still enough to make it a little bit anxiety-inducing. What I need from Hokori is just something that's able to deal more damage. Like, I need serious damage from their offlaner, because Puck doesn't have much early on. Nyx, same thing. Disruptor, same thing. Shadowfiend's got it, and so as things stand right now, that's probably where Puck is going to be looking to rotate to the SF's lane. But even just taking into consideration the Enchantress, I feel like Skem, assuming he's the one that's going to be playing this, is going to be set up for a phenomenal game, because he's just not worried about anything disrupting his ability to roam around on the other side of the map. You're just going to be able to live through a lot of harassment.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I'm really concerned with this Hokori draft. I think they're just going to get Renna, and I don't think the supports can do anything against it. And I don't think Puck can do anything against it as well. Or the Shadow Fiend. I think this has to be an incredible last pick, and I'm trying to wrap my head around what Vitaly can pick up to kind of help with the issues they have at the moment. It's a very, very scary draft that Boom have at the moment. Snap, Mag, Enchantress, Mars, all heroes that could be up in your face at such an early stage, and you can also just look to make a lot of space for Jackie as well. I mean, I think Ursa is probably the number one I'm looking for at the moment. Deals very well with the Puck, gets on top of the Shadow Fiend. You are Radiant as well, so a little bit of extra advantage with Aegis. My one concern, I guess, with Ursa is that just your tower siege is a bit weak. Maybe Empower, the bonus damage could help out, though.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I do like that Venoban as well by Boom. Doesn't provide necessarily the quickest damage, but you are still against 3 strength heroes at this point in time, and it prevents that clump up and run at you style that they're going for. They could be considering an Underlord, maybe, but no one's really picking that hero these days. Could they go like offlane Phoenix or something like that as a potential option? It's not really something that Vitaly prioritizes.
It'd protect the egg relatively well. I guess you've got the Snapfire to deal with it though, so your position would have to be really goddamn perfect.
It's not looking easy, I'll say that.
No, it's really not. It is really, really not.
Maybe a Death
I'd
Prophet?
like them.
I think that's probably one of the better options that they've got. The spirits don't really care about the arena. You've got passive damage that's going to be coming out during RP. It's someone else on the front lines, so that not everything is reliant on the Puck. You can potentially bait people into a static storm, and it gives you some more tower push that you're really lacking. Because Nyx, Disruptor, Puck do 0, and Shadow Fiend needs to be farming. So I think you need something that's doing that job. So yeah, I would go DP.
I think for Boom, if I don't hate the Monkey King as well, someone that gets a lot of advantage out of Empower. Mars Monkeys is a really good combo. Coil is not the biggest issue sometimes. You can just lay Wukongs down and should be protected. Maybe you won't get as easily on top of the Shadow Fiend as what I was kind of hoping from their carry to be.
Can you still just jug? I think you can jug here.
Yeah.
You don't care about Disruptor. You don't care about Nyx. You don't care about Puck. Great Empower target. Jackie's favorite hero. I think it's solid enough. You just got to make sure you get that shard so you're not getting kited around.
Interesting. Okay. Not the ideal Empower target. But I mean, Hokori do not deal with illusions at all. Nyx, Disruptor really struggle.
Glimpse
Your
kills
late game matchup versus...
but that's about it.
Yeah, that's about it for the Disruptor, unfortunately. So are you still favoring the Death Prophet, even though TB very high armor? Is it just you helping still with being able to take objectives could be nicer? Or is there something else that you're considering now with the Terrorblade being shown?
Only thing I'm considering is this Puck now off lane into the TB, and a decent amount of magic damage. You might be able to deal with the Enchantress if she gets too far up in your face. But then what do you run mid? I'm not certain. I think Boom have the better draft overall. I think they've got nothing to do with illusions on Hokori. I think they're going to win most of their lanes. I think they're incredibly hard to kill, and I think Hokori are lacking in damage.
That is a lot of issues they have to try and help out with the last pick. That is...
It's good damage. Don't hate it.
That
Don't hate it at all.
is actually like I can see him solo carrying this game. 3 strength heroes, an illusion hero as well. No spirit vessel builder. I can really see Vitaly actually carrying them in this game. I think it's still I still really like Boom's draft, but I think this helps out with a lot of the issues that Hokori has, and I don't particularly because I was very, very pessimistic about that draft, and now seeing the team, I'm like, okay, I can see it working.
I can see it working too. Like, he's going to need to have one of the games of his life, in my opinion. I think FBZ, even Snapfire, potentially has the option of going into the vessel, right? Like, obviously you want to be prioritizing the Blink and the Aghanim Shard for FBZ if possible. But I think on the Snapfire, you could probably look to get away with it. Gives you some nice passive mana regen. You can stay out in the lane. You're still going to be around a lot of these kills that they're looking to play for on Boom. So I think if anyone's going to get it, it's probably going to be Tim's. It's a great Timbersaw pick. I still slightly favor Boom, though. What do you think?
I slightly favor Boom as well, but again, honestly, if there was anything that if there was any pick that was going to make me be a little bit hesitant, this Timber is probably the pick. I think it is an incredible pick for Hokori, so we'll see if he's going to be able to pull it out. I'm trying to pull myself over. I think he can do it, but I just like the whole lineup that Boom are rocking with.
Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to think, like, what specifically does he need to do on Vitaly to be able to get that unbeatable game, you know? I think the mid lane needs to go very well for Analog. Again, Puck, Spirit style heroes, those are his specialties, so I'm glad that he's got one of them, but it's against the Mars, not the easiest to lane into. He's already got pretty good attack range just from being one of these newer heroes that, for whatever reason, always seem to have more than the standard melee attack range, so Puck can't range quite as easily. You're going to be copping a lot of harassment as well from the God's Rebuke. This might be the game where he levels it up a little bit more versus what we saw last game. You have to make that early rotation to the Timbersaw's lane. You need to try and secure it with the Dream Coil. You need to use that to get a kill onto the Terrorblade, and you need to take the tower, and then essentially allow Vitaly to farm unopposed for the next 5 or so minutes and then rotate elsewhere to secure your Shadow Fiend's lane. So it's a lot of ifs that need to happen for Hokori for me.
But it definitely feels like they can rotate Theolacor early with the potential of Timber just playing alone. So
unless
we'll
they do the
if...
switcheroo, you run Theolacor with the Shadow Fiend, you run the Disruptor with the Timber. It's possible.
We'll see how they shape themselves up here from Hokori. This is a very tricky game with how the draft is shaping up and how we're favoring Boom at the moment. But if we're putting a lot of emphasis onto Vitaly, what do we feel like the item build has to be for the Timbersaw in this game?
Oh, man. Does he have to go a little bit greedier this game? Just full, like, Kyron Sange, get into that immediately just so he's able to withstand the decent stuns that they've got and be able to dish out the damage while he can? I feel like that may be the play. They're not super heavy into the physical or magic side of things on Boom, so maybe just the casual cloak will be enough to be able to get him out of that sticky situations quite effectively. Nice little dodge there by FBZ. Will enable Boom to pick up 3 bounty runes, so call it.
3 bounties and a GG. What happens if you get 4 bounties then?
You win the series, not just the game.
Oh, win the series. Okay. Well, the team should be ashamed that they somehow gave up 4 bounties.
Yeah, a little bit. You should most of the time be able to secure one. Alright, so we're seeing Hokori move. They've got dual ranged and dual melee lanes. I'm not sure how confident I am with this, because I feel like you're just going to be in a situation where Vitaly's going to cop a lot of harassment without giving too much back the other way. At least if you had the Disruptor down here, maybe you get some damage back into these heroes. Like, Disruptor's probably going to do a lot more than a Nyx when you consider what Jackie is going to be able to accomplish here. Like, Nyx can never walk up and right-click and stop a TB from just popping the meta. So at least they're just not hoping to try and get this lane happening, but look at Scam. He's looking to try and chase down Theolacor. Won't be able to secure it, I don't think. But Scam knows what his job is in this lane. He is just a constant harasser, going purely for the stats, even buying up the Null Talisman really early on.
And it's important for them to be able to force the creep wave under the tower. They're not going to be able to hold it outside. Playing around with the creep equilibrium here, so it's going to shove back into the favor of Boom. And meanwhile, you see Jackie as well pulling his own creep wave behind. So, yeah, really nice individual plays coming out from Boom, just recognizing what they need to do whenever a team goes for these kind of lane-cutting shenanigans. This top lane, Tims will be able to find first blood, though, onto Lumiere. So, looks like it was just a skewer back, and Tims with a follow-up spell casting was how they were able to get that first kill.
Scam again. I mean, he's completely draining them of their regen right now on the bottom side, even making sure to allow the tower to not take too much harassment. Very important that you're holding on to that one on Boom if possible. Just doing the little things that they can right now. With Hokori just looking to use the stun to disrupt a single last hit.
Top lane. FBC double skewer as well to shove away Gardic. Lumiere will still get the long raise, however, to bring down Tims in the tree line, and FBZ hits back as well. So Boom, second kill of the game's going to be picked up for them, and at least they're able to trade the lives of the supports.
Okay, they're able to accomplish a little bit there. Even getting a little pull off onto this creep camp here. So Scam, he let the lane slip up a little bit towards him, but they'll actually be able to re-aggro the creeps back in. So Vitaly not going to get a lot of that free experience through. I wonder if the Theolacor is going to even look to try and emphasize taking away the bounty rune.
Top lane again. Lumiere is going to be once again the pressure put onto the Shadow Fiend. The Silver will be given over. Looks like he's able to dance into the tree line and will be okay. We see how difficult it is for them to play. It's a cookie once again to get the mag into a position where he can just skewer the Shadow Fiend into a compromised position. Very awkward for these two ranged heroes to be positioning in.
And once again, all three lanes Boom favored right now. Not too often that you see a Timbersaw go a boots this early on just to be able to...
FBZ! This lane continues on with the action. FBZ cleans up Lumiere. Well, the trades there once again.
Things going very, very well for Boom indeed. Yopaj mid lane as well. He's opened up a little bit of a net worth lead over Analog. Going to be able to get plenty of experience. He's got a little bit of a lead as well. Should look to be hitting that level 6 just that slight bit earlier. I just love Scam's positioning as well, making sure to position himself between Theolacor and that power rune. So it's actually going to be Scam enabling this first rotation through. They see him place down an Observer Ward, and you're just going to get this kill for free. No, popping the Carapace, but it still means a one-on-one matchup between Jackie and Vitaly, and I feel like Jackie's happy
Top
with
lane.
that.
Oh, nice use of the glimpse from Gardic. Sends FBZ packing. Was on top of Lumiere, but thanks to the glimpse, couldn't get the skill follow-up. They might just chase him down, though.
Yeah. Still 7 seconds left on that cookie, though, so not in a position to be able to get another skewer back, unfortunately, for Boom.
This lane combo devastating from Boom at the moment. They might be able to get Tims, though. Lumiere starting to stack up the raises. Cookie over the tree line means that Lumiere, unable to get the short raise, but the long one is back up. So the finishing blow picked up for the Shadow Fiend. A much needed kill to try and help stabilize how this top lane is going.
Yeah, every single kill that you're able to feed over to Lumiere just accelerates his tempo so much. You're able to get aggressive. You're able to use that space that Puck's going to be trying to create for you. Same sort of thing with a Timber. Get some turnaround potential. Glimpse available, and they're actually going to rotate Theolacor up here as well.
Busy. Playing with the raindrops, a lot of stats that the Magnus has as well. Looks like he might be able to survive long enough. Yeah, makes it back towards the tower. So beautifully done in regards to the itemization. FBZ will not be killed off.
Did you see him pump fake the skewer as well to bait out the Carapace? Just nice small plays like that from FBZ, enabling to get range away from these three heroes trying to take him down.
See if they record as well with the ward on the high ground. Spike Carapace is available. Gonna need Gardic as well to help out. The cookie still gets the stun before the glimpse back, or the damage I should say. So Nyx Assassin will still go down.
Also leaves them understanding the situation down bottom here with Scam. 2 points in the enchant for now. Again, it's all about upping the tempo, so you want to make sure you're maxing that one out to get the best creep possible. Certainly look to still put some decent harassment into Vitaly. Maybe not now that he's level 5, with a little bit of extra bonus armor and regen. Becomes a little bit more difficult, but as long as you're not losing your tower and prioritizing the siege creep, I think you're going to be in an alright spot for Boom.
I think this is one advantage that Hokori are going to have over the next couple of minutes where Skem is kind of forced to play down bottom, whereas Theolacor isn't. TB cannot 1v1 the Timbersaurs, and now the kill going the way of Lumiere. FBZ, second death for him in the game.
Could have maybe lived.
So
I mean, he had a healthy wand as well as the raindrops just about to come off cooldown, but maybe just wanting to keep those so that when he does eventually come back to the lane, he's in a healthy enough spot.
Analog's in trouble mid lane. Oh no, Yopaj, he tried to pump fake the spear, then used it afterwards, and Analog with the phase shift will be able to dodge that. So Arena expended and not able to get a big kill that really a position 2 Mars needs to be able to snowball.
At least Tims is able to make some stacks for honestly anyone this game. 3 cores, a little greedy on Boom's side, both capable of making that early push happen with pickoffs as well as going back inside of their own jungle. Even on the Radiant side. Easy, seems like they're considering going for an aggressive attempt here. Lumiere just moving on forward already. Gonna use the glimpse, but did you walk back inside that kinetic?
They might have. Cookie FBZ will be able to get out. Yopaj's gonna tip in without the arena.
Oh.
The spear's not enough damage to be able to kill off Gardic. We're trying to rely on the phase boots to close the distance, but Analog's even got a TP in as well. Lines up a double coil. This was set up perfectly for Lumiere to be able to get the razors going, and they'll jump over down to the south as well to get rid of Tim. So some nice rotations coming out from Hokori, really starting to help out that top lane that wasn't looking good through the first couple of minutes.
And they see a lot of the rotations coming through as well with the Observer Ward placed down to the right-hand side of the tower. Do you think that they can even defend this? I mean, FBZ sticking around, popping the healing salve for himself, and well, TP's coming back available, but you got to be careful. Again, this is against a Disruptor. He's going to be wanting to get that send back if possible.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Doesn't seem like you'll be able to claim anyone with it, but like the little modification coming through from Skem, realizing that he's not going to change the outcome of this bottom lane too much. He rotates mid, starts to try and put a little bit of pressure onto it. He'll even get a couple of awards for his troubles, but you got to be careful about this Enchantress just getting a little too out of control. Again, I feel like Hokori's lacking damage to be able to deal with her once she hits level 6.
They're still going to play up top though on Hokori. That's how it looks like it will end up going down. And yeah, like you said, bottom lane, the top where the action is. Coil into the Requiem to try and break it. And the follow-up is going to be there. But Boom nearby. Unfortunately, not going to be fast enough. Tim's with the cookie to try and reposition the mag out to safety. So his top lane started really rough for Corey, but in the end, it's going to be Lumiere that's well and truly on top of the net worth and also getting the first tower of the game.
Certainly made a big recovery. They also would have seen the big stacks being claimed up, so they probably know that as soon as one of these heroes goes off the map, 2 points in the Empower so far for FBZ, so he has the potential of being able to rotate back through and accelerate the net worth in that way. Not quite yet at level 6 though, you know, he's really been forced back away from this lane after a great start.
They're going to be quick at getting the kill into Vitali bottom lane because Hokori is starting to move down. Looks like the extra damage coming through from Skem's second point and the impetus, and also the Hellbear Smasher is enough to be able to blow up the Timbersaw. A big kill for them to be able to find without committing too heavily, and this also just delays the push that Hokori are looking to try and set up down bottom with the next catapult.
Analog getting the regen rune though. Gonna be very happy to claim that one.
Dire's bottom tower
RP not leveled up just yet on FBZ, wanting to keep plenty of options open. Actually, never mind. He gets the 3rd point in the Empower. They're going to see him retreat back inside of his own triangle. So they know that they're playing without the Magnus for the next little bit. I wonder if this will cause them to maybe try and make an aggressive move happen. But again, I still feel like they're lacking the damage with just Analog and Theolacor being here.
What do you feel like the play should be from Boom? Do you want to address bottom with this catapult siege, or do you look to just trade side lane towers?
Can they even trade side lane towers right now? I feel like you still need a little bit of the control coming through from the RP if you're going to look to make that happen. So right now, it seems like they don't want to give this bottom lane up. I mean, you've got the Mortimer's Kisses, you've got Yopaj, but still 20 seconds away from the arena. They might be forced to give this one up for free, and yeah, it seems like a TP that's just been wasted.
is under attack.
So big for Hokori now. Uncontested tower's going to go their way. Vitali getting a lot of the bonus net worth out of it. They might kill off Gardic. Some de-warning shenanigans, but the Glimpse going to send Yopaj packing. Tim's, however, wants to try and capitalize with the initial stun. We'll drop some Mortimer Kisses, which is enough to be able to secure the kill, but Vitali might have an opening now to kill the Snapfire. And not with Mars stepping in to provide that extra assistance to push him away.
For Boom's side, Jackie is still farming reasonably well though, so he's going to be able to rotate back again inside of that triangle relatively soon. Pick up a bunch of the creeps that have been stacked up for him there. Even Skem, just looking to stack it even further. I think what I want to see from him is just starting to play perhaps, a bit more aggressive towards the Dire side of the map. We know that Dire is a little bit better at being able to effectively take the jungle. Of course, Shadow Fiends these days, 3 points into the Shadow Rays enables that quite heavily.
Look at Theodore. Oh, scouts out the Enchantress and the Magnus perfectly. Almost lined up for a double stun. They're able to secure another power rune. And I'm going to try and put some pressure on the T1 tower.
Those Mortimer's Kisses though, and they're still a full minute away, so I'm not sure if you're going to be able to protect this too easily.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Seems like they've almost entirely abandoned it.
Radiant
No, they use the glyph, but I still don't think they've got the damage on Boom right now.
Radiant's middle tower.
Without the Kisses, 40 seconds until it's back up, and another tower going the way of Hokori. This can now really enable them to start to push into the jungle and make it difficult for them to get full usage out of the Empower, but FBZ,
that helps.
A jump
All the
in,
silence.
a silence into the core is going to be able to prevent the skewer underneath the tier 2 tower. They'll have to fall with the Requiem as well, trying to break the coils as Boom, they're in trouble. FBZ is going to go down off to the left side. Lumi is able to catch up to another member as Analog. He can also clean up on Yopaj, who was trying to retreat back to the high ground. So now with Corey, we're even going to try and pump in some damage to the tier 2 tower.
And they use the glyph on the tier 1, so they don't have this one available. Like, it was just a really good play from Analog specifically. Yeah, he is the MVP of that fight. Theolacor making sure to give him the tip, because if not for the Dream Coil, if not for the silence, there were 2 times that FBZ could have got that skewer back into the tier 2 tower, and that fight is won for Boom if both of those happen.
What do we feel like the big things going wrong here for Boom down 3,000 gold? Because, again, we were both pretty big fans of this lineup.
I think the lanes just didn't go as well as they were expecting it to. Like, the very start, sure, was fine, but not taking advantage of the fact that Timbersaw was sitting down on this bottom side, maybe looking to get the outnumber happening elsewhere. No real rotation through from Yopaj was super effective. Maybe once he picks up the Blink Dagger for himself, that'll change, and you're able to find the pick off onto, let's say, the Disruptor. Because right now it feels like, with the way that Hokori are setting up their team fights, they're the ones that are getting the +1 in team fights, you know, through the effect of the glimpse. Whereas it should really be Boom, considering that you've got this Magnus and it feels like you've almost exclusively picked it for that purpose.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant structures.
We'll see.
are
Yopaj.
fortified.
Very close to that blink like you were mentioning.
Another glyph being used, and yep, Hokori recognized that they're like, what? No defense? Alright. Let's clear out these trees, make sure there's no TP responses coming. And Boom, for the most part, outside of Jackie on the top side, they're not getting anything out of the map in the meantime. A lot of Dota, like I've been saying, has been about getting trades. You know, what are you willing to give up if it means that you're able to get something in return? And right now, it feels like Boom are just getting nothing, while Hokori are getting everything. Even just committing an Arena.
Yeah, Arena along with the Mortimer Kisses just to get the kill onto Theolacor.
Radiant's bottom tower
It's and now it gives you a big opening for Hokori, knowing that the ultimate's on cooldown, so you can pretty much claim a majority of the jungle here from Boom without a concern for them to try and maybe force an engagement and reclaim their own territory.
Yeah, FBZ trying to cheat his way to a little bit of extra farm. They might be able to catch Gardic here, but actually skewers him into the Static Storm, and there's reinforcements coming too.
Yep. Which way do you retreat to? Down to the south? Well, that's where Analog's moving over, and if you go up top, you're going to run into Lumiere as well, so awkward to escape, and, well, there will be no escape from FBZ with the coil laid down.
That'll help. The mech on Tim's being finished up just for some of that survivability, again countering the relatively low damage that Hokori had, but I feel like they've gotten past that stage. You know, you've now got the Witchblade on the puck. I believe, does he have a Blink Dagger coming out to him? He does, so you're going to be able to provide a lot more harassment, especially with this DD rune about to be picked up on the bottom side of the map. Timber farmed enough went from the hood into that Kyra and Sanj, realized he needs to be a big portion of the damage coming out from Hokori. Things are setting up for them nicely.
His next round of ultimates is really what Boom are looking for. With the blink, the kisses as well to provide that damage. Maybe FAZ with the follow-up, but as long as Hokori don't give them that potential team fight where they're all grouped up.
Well, he is one, but it's right in front of Roche, and Hokori, they've got the vision advantage. At least this time around, Boom are looking to make some kind of trade happen with it. Yopaj pushing out the bottom side. FBZ making sure top is in a pretty reasonable position. He's even playing defensively enough, and understandably, they know that the Roche is happening. FBZ immediately moves into the lane and looks to pick up a few more of those kills. He'll be a little late on his Blink Dagger, but maybe when Hokori are trying to siege forward, either onto the tier 2 or more importantly the high ground, that's when you can get the key Blink reveal and be able to pick off a target. It almost has to be the Shadow Fiend though, right? Puck seems pretty ineffective. You're always going to be able to get the phase shift off. Timber, tanky enough.
Oh, top lane, like, FBZ. Beautifully done from Theolacor. The use of the Medetta being able to scout out the Magnus, playing in the tree line. The rest of the team move over to try and provide that damage required to bring down the Magnus. And now this will be able to open up the T2 tower for them to claim as Lumiere start to get the damage going.
And again, it's still just a little bit short of the blink. So FBZ, I feel like he overstayed his welcome a little bit up there, right? You know, you knew that they were taking Roshan, and he stayed there for another, what felt like minute and a half. So for him to get picked off feels almost natural. Boom, just, I mean, they're scanning on the defensive side, and they might be looking to try and get this solo pick off onto Analog. They'll know that there's a power in on the bottom hand side of the map, but Yopaj, after bottling it again, isn't going to be able to achieve too much more.
See if Boom still stick around.
No tier 2 towers to play with.
Aren't at all, so a lot of their map control going to be difficult for Boom to be able to set up a formation. See them starting to move. That observe ward scouting out Analog going to the triangle, but Jack is still nearby. The lane ward as well is going to scout out Yopaj. Looking to try and go for an extra wave, but the stun's just shy. They got the vision for the chakram, for the glimpse. Off the mark. So this is pretty big for Boom now. Scouts out multiple heroes down bottom, so mid's going to be able to get shoved out. Top's getting shoved out as well, and they should be able to reclaim their triangle.
FBZ's got his Blink Dagger now. It's being delivered to him. Has to make sure not to reveal it in this lane here if possible. Analog actually gets the solo jump onto him, but there's no follow-up. Just trying to bait out some responses. He showed himself.
Spear from Yopaj. FBZ, is he going to blink follow-up? In fact, they're going to try and turn around on Hokori. Look at the wraparound from Lumiere. Should be able to close the distance onto the Mars. The mechanism will buy enough time for Yopaj to enter the higher ground, but Analog wants to continue in pursuit. He's got to be cautious, but he dodges the RP, and FBZ, they're going to get out now. Boom. With the RP wasted, you can't stick around to take the skirmish, and unfortunately for Skem, the retreat will not be an option for the Enchantress.
Especially with how this game has been going, I'm a little surprised with Skem's build. You know, the fact that he's gone full on into the impetus. Yeah, it's important to be able to deal with his Timbersaw with the pure damage, but what I was saying was the big strength of him is that he's going to be able to put himself out on the map and be very hard to kill for a lot of the supports, you know, but he doesn't have any points in the Nature's Attendance, so it's actually pretty easy to kill him off, and people aren't really that concerned with his pushing potential.
Uh-oh, Jackie. Not again, not like this, dude. Theolacor is doing so much work on the Nyx Assassin. And not
easy to kill him off, and people aren't really that concerned with his pushing potential.
Uh-oh, Jackie. Not again, not like this, dude. Theolacor is doing so much work on the Nyx Assassin. Another member that's scouted out. Oh, Jackie, they're going to make him work for it. Oh, no. This is the member that's been flawless so far from Boom. Just hoping that the Terror Blade can find the items and find the farm where they can have a decent team fight. But with Theolacor, it's so difficult to put yourself out on the map.
This is situation that you find yourself in, especially when you're playing from behind. You know, you don't want to overextend for an Aegis. Is it getting to the stage where you almost want to buy a gem on Boom? Like, you've just got enough on Scam to be able to buy it, and he's got Observer Ward, Sentry Ward picked up for himself here. There's just so many of these wards that have caught them out, lane wards, that I think it's almost a necessity.
Ooh. Oil just shy from Analog down bottom. Let's see if he jumps to the orb as well. You do have Theolacor wrapping on the back line. Sentry's going to be placed from Boom, but looks like they just want to try and get out. This is not a team fight that they're happy to take. Only Tim's will be the one that falls.
They're not really getting much out of it though, are they? Net worth lead slowly growing for Hokori. 45 seconds left on that Aegis, and he's going into the Silver Edge, so really don't hate that up against the Mars in particular, just to be able to get rid of some of that passive damage block that's going to be coming through. I feel like that's going to be the main priority for Hokori, excuse me, making sure that Yopaj goes down at the very beginning of a lot of these fights.
And there's that gem pickup like you were mentioning. Should be able to help out with some of the fights they can take now. Really trying to limit what impact we see out of Theolacor as well, which is a big reason of why they have this lead. Just the Knicks constantly catching up multiple members, and also those rotations that we saw from him very early on to protect the safe lane. So smoke from Boom, they need to get something out of it. They've got a pretty good ward around mid lane.
I think they know this is happening. It was pretty obvious, right? You walk forward onto Jackie, you clear out the wave, the vision that you get
mid lane.
I think they know this is happening. It was pretty obvious, right? You walk forward onto Jackie, you clear out the wave, the vision that you get lingers for about half a second, and so he just walked back inside the base. You don't do that unless you're doing something with the rest of the team. You've got couriers for items. They saw he was full HP, and so they just clump up around their vision, make sure that they're not going to get caught out. At least it still enables Boom to get out on the map, get rid of some of these sentry wards that are lying around, but it's certainly not what they would have wanted.
Not at all. Not at all. You were hoping for kills, and Busy in a position where he might be able to jump Vitaly, but again, the Timbersaur is a hero that you have to commit way too heavily to bring down. It's going to get to a stage where probably the only time he's really vulnerable is if Jackie considers about a Silver's Edge. But even then, not the greatest item that we see often on the Terrorblade. Scotty will definitely help out in that regard, but even then, I think it still will be very difficult to kill Vitaly on the Timber, who is working on a BKB as his next item, so going to be even more difficult to bring down.
They're roaming out as a team, though, on Boom. I like this. I mean, in terms of overall team fight, you've still got to give the edge over to Boom, just because of the kisses, the arena, and more importantly, while these BKBs are coming up, the RP is still just as effective. And they're going to be playing under their vision for once this game.
Well, Jackie. First on the front, it's going to back up to the higher ground.
Team fight, you've still got to give the edge over to Boom, just because of the kisses, the arena, and more importantly, while these BKBs are coming up, the RP is still just as effective. And they're going to be playing under their vision for once this game.
Well, Jackie. First on the front, it's going to back up to the higher ground ward. They'll see Vitaly. They'll see Theolacor.
Just not one.
A jump in stun. They might be able to blow up Jackie. Doesn't get the Sunder off. The Vendetta damage enough to be able to kill off the Terrorblade. And you got to get out now on Boom. And unfortunately for FBZ, will not be able to do so. A beautiful jump in thanks to the Nyx Assassin. And they'll be rewarded with another kill as well, which hands over the jump to Hokori.
They get the gem? Yeah, they did. I thought I saw it being dropped on the ground for a second there. Maybe he was trying to hide it off in the trees on Scam, but wasn't able to give it to one of the people that was able to TP all the way back to base. Yeah, I mean, that was the right click from the Nyx Assassin that ends up killing him. Just the Vendetta hit, so very nice movement coming through from Theolacor. Not wasting the Vendetta just as the initiation component. That was what the smoke was for. So instant move in, get the stun off, and then follow up with the damage that they needed to be able to take him out. Otherwise, that's a Sunder, and that's potentially a very different team fight. Just being able to pop the reflection even for the vision aspect.
Now it gets you a big injection of gold into the bank of Hokori, closer to that second Roche. So more items that you're going to be playing with around a pivotal moment that could just secure the game for them if they get that if they get the Ag Shard and the Aegis as well. So very scary times here for Boom.
And they just haven't gotten anything, literally nothing, out of this Blink Dagger on FPZ, right? Like, he's had it for what feels like about 5 or so minutes now, but going into the BKB afterwards doesn't feel like it's necessarily the right choice, especially with how they've been looking to play in this next little bit. Maybe you could have got more use out of the Aghanim Shard if you get the jump. You're able to split up the team fight a little easier.
Lumiere might be trying to set
Careful
up on FBZ. Yeah. If he sees the creeps, he's going to see the presence of the Dark Lord. If he is, and even in his tooltip as well. Still play off in the tree line. FBZ. He's not going to reveal himself just yet. You see the rest of the Boom as well, how scared they're playing on the map. They are not looking to venture out into Hokori's territory.
I think they should, fight. I mean, as long as they saw that presence of the Dark Lord, that's what you're worried about. It's the Shadow Fiend. So if you've got 4 people, if you've got vision, if you are comfortable with the fact that they don't have any detection, vision up, you can just go for the smoke. You could look to make something happen. Maybe just with how close they are to being able to pick up the Skadi on Jackie. I think he's got it now. That was all that they were waiting for.
No matter what happens for Boom, a team fight has to be taken around the vision. You need to get the jump. It has to be a big one onto multiple heroes. As they will see Hokori starting to move through the river. Second Roche is now up and available. Boom have pretty good wards nearby to be able to take a fight.
But they don't have any damage. Like, Jackie's all the way back here inside of the mid lane, helping to push it out to make this movement a little bit less obvious. But you know, they're conscious of that fact. They're constantly backing off. Scam even just taking a melee creep from the wave to make it push out a little bit better and give some of that understanding of what's happening around this Roche pit.
Hokori, I love how they're just itemizing with this net worth lead. They're just playing it defensive. Analog's going what looks like an Aeon disc. You got a BKB picked up from Vitali. Just making sure you're going to continue to cement this lead. Trying to not go aggressive and maybe greedy with some items that can help you getting kills. You just want to stay alive and make sure you don't throw this lead and don't throw killers away in the team fights.
FBZ's doing a pretty good job of pushing in this bottom lane, making it passively engage into Hokori's side of the map. So that's going to be a tier 2 tower going down and a nice little amount of net worth for him too. He needs to get back though. They're moving. Oops,
smoke's going to pop. Analog entering the high ground. Core's only going to land on a 1. Jack is going to enter the middle as well with incredible use of the arena and the Mortimer Kisses. Lumi is going to end up going down, but Boom need to get more out of this good side of their team fight. They're going to consider about going back to Analog next. Aeon Disc will be prop for the moment, and they will not be able to catch up to him. So in the end, Theolacor should still go down. Kill off the Nyx. They get anything more as Gardic should be out, almost going down Theopage, but can Boom consider about Roche now?
I think they can. They've got the meta used. They know what's up. They don't need, they're not actually... Oh, no. The Observer Ward just expired on the high ground there, so they don't have 100% confirmation that Boom have theirs up, but still waiting in the wings is FBZ. Wants to be able to land that clutch RP, but he can't get caught out with these silencers, and you've got to make sure that your vision game is on point and just let them get that for free.
Oh, what a silence! Instantly is his analog to prevent the skewer back, but they're still going to find it with a follow-up! Double spirit to the right clicks. Nyx will go down, but Hokori, they've looked to re-enter. Analog's going to be in with the coil, holding back Jackie for the moment. He's got some Sunder targets, and he's going to chuck it out onto Skem instead, so have fun, Mr. Captain. Good luck getting out of that one.
They were so close to being able to take out Vitali as well. Gets away on about 80 HP. I think there might have even been a miss when he ended up timber chaining up onto the high ground. Yeah. Once he's in 2 minds, do we go into Roche? Do we not? Do we play around the fact that they don't have meta? How long do they have meta for? And just was waiting for Vitali to be the one to tank up a first few hits, and well, that's going to give them this second Roche. Idle pickup for them around these heavy committal ultimates, and I mean, Metamorphosis is essentially an ultimate as well on Boom. They're not frequently able to take a lot of these team fights if Hokori just stay loosely clumped up. It's all about just not getting picked off with the Blink Spear, not getting picked off with the Blink Horn Toss into the skewer back. You might lose 1 fight, but you're not going to lose 2 in a row.
The edges will definitely protect them from doing so. We've seen how difficult it has been to be able to get these initial kills, so have fun going through Lumiere a second time.
The Olacor's hunting again. He's going to look. He's going to see the duration on the meta target. On the illusion, rather, the conjure image. So hunting inside the tree line, doing the right thing. But Jackie, it's happened to him too many times this game that he's going to back off completely. All the way back to base. And still do his job of keeping this bottom lane pushed out.
See if they go for Vitali, FBZ. RP up in a couple of seconds. The rest of the team playing shortly behind the mag, ready for the follow-up. Again, this is a very similar thing though, Boom. They always need to take a fight around a choke point. They've got a lot of big AoE ultimates. You need an area where you can kind of set yourself up and enable Jackie to be able to continue to right-click. This is ideal for them at the triangle, but it's just a question of Hokori might just completely avoid the area.
They might, or they might just jump up into him.
He's gonna just brute force up, deal with the observer ward. All of a sudden, now without the ward there, that is a very difficult position for Boom to hold. So they're gonna have to try and scurry back towards their own base instead.
And I mean, it's clear they're playing scared, right? Yeah, Timbersaw just diving in completely solo. Of course, he had his team a little bit behind him, but Shadow Fiend with no way to connect to the rest of the team. They could have potentially had that one. They have to be careful about going on analog as well. He's got the Aeon disc. Full wraparound from Boom seems like the play. They don't have the... Oh, he's basically got the Ags on Disruptor as well. 5 gold away.
And a butterfly now for the Shadow Fiend before the MKB's picked up on Jackie. So really big windows here that Hokori can look to utilize with the Aegis advantage. They could just close out this game. 2 team fight victories, and that might be all she wrote with some of the big items they just completed.
Top tower is under attack.
They managed to get the gem back on anyone? Who's holding it onto it right now? Ah, Timbersaw.
And Vitali.
Yeah. It's all the vision available right now for Hokori to play with. Lack of fear, not needing to play around the fact that the enemy team has an Aegis. Gem's going to get out, and that's going to mean that the team is somewhat isolated, but Yopaj quick enough to be able to get back to safety. So they're doing a decent job of kiting out this Aegis. It's still got another 2 minutes or so on it, but they're still not anywhere near close to being fully slotted on Hokori's side. Still could look to get into the Shiva's Guard, which is going to do a lot of work against the Terror Blade, just reducing the damage.
Oh, look at this Observer Ward. Okay, not the case. They were going to charge up. Analog was ready to go. They're going to smoke as well from Hokori. Actually, about to expire.
Do they find the backline? Do they just cut the wave? No, they're going to go for another smoke. Vitali, will he be fearless again?
They're under the wards. Oh, the vision advantage and the static storm, but they only bring down one. Up, he's going to be there with the follow-up damage. Jackie's trying to right-click into Lumiere at the moment, but he's not winning the man fight. Lumiere is just too far ahead with the advantage of the butterfly. Jackie cannot keep up with the right-click damage as they'll drag back another. What a skirmish for Corey.
Buyback, man. It was like they got the initiation onto him. Ag Static Storm dropped on his head. And then the 2-man RP was actually pretty decent coming through there from FBZ. The first one of the entire game. And then he just buybacks basically after the team fight's done. Means that you can't man fight into the Shadow Fiend. That's a big reason why you pick the Mars against these ranged cores that don't have movement abilities like the SF. They can't right-click into it if the arena's up, and he just wasn't there.
Radiant's middle barracks are under attack. Radiant's middle barracks.
Now, the cost is going to be their base. Full set of barracks mid. Creeps pushed in as well, so they will not have to worry about the backdoor protection as down to bottom they go.
Radiant structures are fortified.
They max out the Dagon, everything that they can just to provide that little bit of extra burst onto the Terrorblade, making sure he doesn't get the Sunder off. Even just onto one of the illusions that'll provide the instant kill for it. Just the one lane, but feels like a lot more, especially considering you expended your mid's buyback. There's been essentially 0 item progression coming through from Yopaj for quite some time now. I mean, he's been stuck on Blink Dagger, Phase Boots, and a BKB for what feels like about 10 minutes, only picking up the Aghanim Shard since then. So, it really does feel like his impact in teamfights is nowhere near on the level as it was in the previous game. They got to find that singular pick-off. Now, Gardic has actually jumped up so much in priority now that they saw that the BKB was unusable inside of the Static Storm. They know that that Aghanim Scepter is available.
It just feels like they don't have a lineup, though, that's ever going to be able to get on the Disruptor. especially with how Timber's positioning so far in the front line. Or who do you think can get on the disruptor?
I mean, you've got Blinks, right? You've got Blinks on Mag, you've got Blinks on the Magnus, so you pretty much just need to commit quite heavily onto that. And what's going to enable you to do that is the Enchantress, right? You can just enchant anything and use that as your main scouting tool. And that's where I feel like Skem, it's an area that he needed to do a little bit more of that this game, because I think he's just sitting a little bit too passively. He's playing this like a core, and we know that he's played every single role, but he's been a support for a while, so just feels like his team needs him to scout.
And look, mid lane, Waning Rift into the spear. The Disc will be able to protect him, so at least they pop it and Boom don't have to heavily commit. They're going to smoke instantly now. Only with the Disc on cooldown does give them a slight advantage. They might have been underneath that dire Observer Ward. I don't know if that was just in range or not.
But the MKB,
not backing off like they know, though.
Against the Butterfly, you want to be able to try and stand and man fight against this roster, and well, yeah, they're gonna see the general direction that Boom are in because of that Observer Ward. They know they're on the right-hand side of the river, so they're going to play accordingly. Top of the stairs, playing close enough to Lumiere underneath the tier 2 tower that he's not going to be in too much of a bother.
Pop kind of needs to be addressed as well with the double catapult, so Boom gonna have to back off and eventually reveal themselves, so another ward's gonna be dropped mid lane. Every single bit of vision they can get. They can't lose this triangle control. This is the last spot that Boom have to fight. They need to make sure they are ready to take a team fight around this part of the map.
Love to have level 20 on the TV, just for every little bit of extra power spike that you're going to get. Even just an extra half second on the RP could be what changes things for FBZ on the Magnus. He's going into the Aether Lens just to provide that little bit of extra blink range on the Blink Dagger to get that Horn Toss, the skewer range. Just split up the fight as much as he can.
It's going to be so scary though, because if you try and go for that RP and drag back, then Boom are going to be grouped up and could set up for a beautiful Static Storm, because Blink's almost completed from guarding.
He was almost there on the Tali.
Skill's going to clip onto Theolacor. Not the greatest start for them. Yopar's going to try and play around with the arena. They've already lost Skem off the left side. Jack is soloing down Lumiere at the moment. RP is going to buy him some extra time with the help of the MKB.
Satanic.
But Lumiere can try and turn around the Satanic. Requiem charge up as well. Jack is killed off. Yopar should be able to escape along with Tim's with the Whirling Death. We'll stop that TP in its tracks. So in the end, we'll be a 2 for 2. They do still end up getting the kill onto the Shadow Fiend. So not the worst in the end for Boom.
Yeah, they bought back on Skem as well, which, you know, kind of sucks. They're pinging out where they know that this vision is. Yeah, there we go. Finally going to be able to remove a lot of this vision that's enabled them to set up so much for a lot of these gank attempts that are set to come. And FBZ just a little bit off the mark there with being able to secure the pick onto the Timber. Again, that's the main thing, right? We mentioned how this Timber Saw can have such a high impact this game. Not necessarily in the net worth, to be honest. I think Analog's probably been the MVP along with Theolacor, but it's still so important to take him away from the start of these fights, because otherwise your health just becomes a fraction of what it is previously, and we know that every little bit counts against the SF, who's able to two-shot some people at this stage.
If he can get his hands on the double damage rune, that's gonna further enable this two-shotting. Analog might leave a little bottle as a present there.
There we go. Aether Lens picked up by FBZ. Doesn't have enough for the buyback. And he's holding on to the Ceremonial Robe just for that little bit of extra status resistance. Almost want him to be holding on to that Telescope that just dropped for Boom. I think every single bit of attack range is going to matter. And the way that he's been playing a lot of these fights has been on the back lines. So it's going to provide assistance for the Enchantress, the Snapfire, the Terrorblade, until he's ready to finally make that jump.
You were able to barely win the man fight in the previous engagement against the Shadow Fiend. Now you're going to have to do it against the DD level 24 Lumiere.
Yeesh.
The path that Boom are taking. The long wraparound, even afraid of their triangle, just showcasing how much respect they're giving Hokori with the net worth lead they have at the moment, up to 25,000. Mid lane getting pushed all the way through is someone showing. It will be Yopaj, so at least someone's going to reveal.
There's a refresher. If they look to take this one, FBZ again looking for the pickoff. The only one that moves on forward is Analog, realizing that he's got the Aeon Disc to be able to play around with. So Hokori are just playing this much smarter than what we saw in the previous game. Not giving up anyone free for pickoffs, realizing the strengths of their lineup. And you know, if Boom are going to look to go for pickoffs with this Mars and the Magnus, they're not going to let them.
Smoke up. How can they get the jump on Hokori? What's the angle they're going to look to take? Because Boom all grouped up as 5, ready to take the skirmish. Comes down to the initiation. You've got to be worried about this DD onto Lumiere as well.
They know. They saw the presence aura on the creep.
Tim's the first one forward. Theoloco's just going to jump up and try and drop the vision. They're onto FBZ. A couple of right clicks takes care of the Magnus, and all of a sudden, they've got firm control of the triangle. I just love that play from Theoloco, just mindlessly blinking up, dropping a ward, and just getting all the information they need to scout out where Boom are positioning.
And it's right before Roshan as well. One with an Aghanim Scepter too, so I feel like you probably want to give this one over to Lumiere as well. I mean, he is doing a lot of the heavy lifting. You could look to pick it up. Maybe it'll be double Chakram instead. Okay, for Vitaly. I mean, the extra maximum souls would have given him a nice little bonus of damage, as well as a bit more of the reduced cooldown. I'm a little surprised with Boom. Like, they were completely set up. They knew that that movement was happening, but Tim's felt like he was moving in slow motion with some of his retreat there.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Oh, look at the Theoloco and Analog just blowing up one.
Radiant's top tower
Analog not concerned at all. Aeon Disc gonna get popped.
is under attack.
Vitaly will cover the retreat as well. So let's see if they can try and target him with the puck. Normally the Aeon Disc was used. Yopaj gets the initiation onto the Shadow Fiend with the Mortar Kisses fall up as well, but they might be able to deal with the first slap at Lumiere. Trying to keep himself healthy thanks to the Satanic. They'll secure the kill, but can they set themselves up for round 2? As Jackie's in trouble, a Static Storm lay it down to prevent the Sunder. He's got a buyback, but no Metamorphosis for the second life. And Hokori, looks like they should be able to take this game to a very, very convincing victory for them as well. Very impressed with how they're able to perform with this lineup.
And another 1-1 on our stream.
Yep.
You know, these teams just trading 1 for 1. I'm sure going back, Boom will be kicking themselves a little bit because we really like the draft from start to finish. And I just feel like they didn't execute it quite so well. You know, you pick specifically for this Magnus, for the pickoff potential. I really don't feel like the BKB would have changed that much. And it felt like he was very hesitant on FBZ. Like, he wasn't confident enough to be able to make those dives, to get those pickoffs, to bring them back into the rest of the team. And you just contrast that with game number 1. Yopaj plays the Mars again, but it's with a Tusk. And